Hello and welcome to week 6 in our Steady Strength Variety Day series. Today we'll be hitting all of our fundamental human movements in the full-length version of this workout, and we'll be getting some extra practice on our lunges and our bottoms up hold position. Let's get into it. For the full-length version of this workout, you'll need all of the usual things, something for your single leg squats to lower yourself down to, something for your push-ups, something for your single leg deadlifts and your rows. And we'll be doing bottoms up lunges, and to prepare for that, we'll be using a stick and a band. So if you have those things, those might be very useful for our warm-up. And of course, if you don't have a light enough kettlebell for your bottoms up grip, you can use a regular grip for that work today. Let's get started. All right, we'll do our standard warm up today. Take a deep breath in and a full breath out. And then lift all 10 toes up off the ground and plug them back down into the floor. Take a look and notice your alignment, making any corrections you need to feel more balanced. Then we'll lift one arm up into the sky, reach up a little bit and flip the palm, making your circle leading with that pinky finger back behind you without rotating the body. And then reverse the direction, up, back, and around. Keeping a straight arm, no need to bend the elbow here. Lift up and come back and around, reversing the direction on that side. And then switch sides, lifting up, flip the palm, go back and around. And if you need to go wider on one side like I am, you do that. We don't wanna overdo it in the warm-up. We just wanna increase and improve the connection we have to our joints. Brain-body connection, that is. Okay, and let's make some smiley faces with our head, tilting the ear over to the shoulder. You can stretch out your fingers as well to increase the stretch. Tilt over to the other shoulder, chin, and go back. Back and forth just a couple of times, feeling your neck and breathing. Side to side, one more time, looking up, stretching out, and over to the second side. Okay, let's get our wrists, stretch the fingers. You can stretch the fingers or you could make a fist with the fingers today. So either or both. And we'll do just a couple rotations on each side. It's the consistency and frequency that makes a bigger difference than doing hundreds of reps one day and none the next. So doing this regularly is important, but we don't need to do many rotations to make it worthwhile. Okay, and then we'll come down onto our mat, curl the toes, pin the heels together, sit back. And of course, you can always lean forward if you need to. Don't make this too intense right off the hop. Ease into it gently. But preparing that curled toe position for our lunges today. Okay, and if you're doing the full length version, we'll do some extra lunge practice in this warm up. Then we'll come forward, all of us, into the tabletop position. Cup the fingers and find a nice flat back. Then lift the knee up off the ground and circle in your hip joint. Okay. Thinking about the circle with drawing it with your knee, but it's the hip that's getting the rotation. And so connected. So the better our hip moves, the less our knee has to work in some of our single leg stuff, especially. Other side, 2 big circles, other direction as you're ready. Noticing what your arms are doing, your fingers are doing as you do this movement. Okay, and then some cat and cows at your own pace, segmenting the spine as much as you can. So thinking about all of the vertebrae along your back. So getting into each and every one of them as you arch up. And then puffing up, making space as you round. Reverse the direction, arching the back. Feel the squeeze of the shoulder blades, a dip between the shoulder blades. And then puff up, round, low back, middle back, upper back, cervical spine. A couple more. Just feeling what you need today most. Maybe opening through the jaw as you do this. And maybe making some extra movements in other directions if you feel that that's useful for you. Breathing some space. The spine loves movement in all directions. Okay, and then we'll lunge forward, straighten the back leg, reach up in our twist, alternate hand, opposite leg, and bring your top hand behind your ear very, very lightly, opening up as much as you can into that twist, letting your head lean into your hand ever so slightly. And then round in, elbow towards the elbow, and then getting as close as you can, but don't worry about making contact. About 5 times in this movement, this thoracic rotation, and rounding. A couple more times. Inhale and exhale. Maybe one more of those. Twisting and rounding. Step back into a downward dog. Let your head go. Pedal the feet. Lengthen through the spine. Bend through the knees. Straighten through the arms. Stepping the other leg forward when you're ready. Back leg lengthens, twisting. And then lightly letting your hands fall behind your head as you open up into the twist a little bit more. And rotating in as you're ready. 5 times. Breathing, opening. 1. Feeling that mobility between your shoulders improving every single time you do this. And of course, we counter that with other movements in our day. So this is why we need to keep nourishing that part of the body. Movement, nutrition. One more time on this side, twisting, rounding, coming up, and then step back once again to your down dog, maybe even into a child's pose, just leaning back, a little bit of a modified child's pose, giving your arms a stretch, fingers a reach, hips a wiggle. Okay, and if you are doing the express version of this workout, that is your warm-up. We'll head straight in. And if you are with me, you'll stay on the floor to do some bicycles. We'll warm up our core and get my knot down lower. And we'll gently, gently lift the shoulders up off the ground, crossing over elbow to knee and lengthening out side to side. So lengthening out the bottom leg as it hovers over the floor, crisscrossing the body without straining the neck. Okay, and let's start the count here at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll do 10 more bicycles. 10, crossing over. 9, lifting. 8, breathing. 7, lengthening. 6, 5, 4, 3, slow is harder. 2, and 1. If you need more, do a few more. If you feel like you lit up your core, then you're good to go. And then let's grab a stick and a band for our last little warm-up drill. Okay, so put your long stick aside for a moment. Get your mini band if you have one, or tie something around your ankles, something stretchy, maybe even elastic band. And then we'll start at one side of your room, feet about hips distance, and then step out wider than hips distance. Okay, point your toes straight ahead. Make sure that you have good alignment as you do this. We're activating the outsides of the legs, helping us with our single leg work. And doing this regularly is really gonna hopefully change the game for you and your single leg work and your knee health. So doing these can be very, very useful before we load up our legs one at a time. And go back and forth a couple more times, waking up that part of the body, noticing what you have to do to stabilize as you step out. If you don't have a mini band, of course, you will be doing this, a modified version of this, so you can add some resistance, or you can do one of the versions that we've done previously. Oh, lifting that leg out to the side is where the money is. Maybe a couple more times. And then we'll slide that band up onto the muscly part of our thighs. So getting it secured there somehow, and hopefully it will stay. Grab your long stick for stability. And we'll again place our feet about hips distance apart. Okay, so adding that resistance so that we're fighting the temptation to collapse our knees inward, resisting against the band. The foot that has the stick nearby, slide that foot back behind you into your low lunge. Check everything out. Check your foot placement, your knee placement, your core engagement, and then stand up using a little bit of the stick to offload the weight that you're using and pressing into that leg. Step up and back. And when you step back, just notice if you're leaning forward. The stick should help you lean back into your glutes and hamstrings a little bit more. Okay, and when you come up, we really want to activate the hamstrings and glutes to step up in a balanced manner so that we're not loading up only our quads. We want those hamstrings and glutes to assist. And the stick will help you pattern this movement for later. So we'll just do a couple more, checking that out on that side. And then if that side feels ready to go, you'll go to the other side. Okay, you can move your band if it's sliding around, adding that resistance, pressing outwards and stepping up. Okay, minding your pathway. Are you stepping out to the side? Are you leaning one way or another? Check it out. Go slow and feel what your little glitches are. We all tend to have them. So we'll clean them up here and now so that when we do our bottoms up lunges, we'll feel a whole lot better. Couple more. And then just see how much you actually need to use that stick once you're all aligned. Upright in the torso, activating that hamstring and glute, and stepping up. And again, look down to see where everything's lining up. Do one without looking down, and then look down to see where everything landed. Okay, was it good? Do we need more practice? Practice this a few more times to get it into place to make for a healthy lunge pattern. Let's get started with this workout. So last week I introduced you to supersets. This week we're going to do relaxed supersets. So the same idea where we pair two movements together with little or no rest in between, but today we will take a little bit more time for rest and mindful movement so that we can really focus on our patterns, especially in this first round. So we'll come into our bottoms up kettlebell position. So if you found out that you can do a bottoms up position with a fairly heavy or medium or light kettlebell, we'll come into this front rack position. And there's no special way to get into the bottoms up position. You simply swing back and then you can protect your face with your hand here. So make sure you're not allowing that bell to come in. And make sure you feel pretty secure here because it is a rather unstable position. Find the corner, near the corner of the handle of the bell. You'll notice the difference. If you hold it too far back, it won't really work very well. And if you hold it in the middle, it'll be a lot harder. So find that ideal grip, and then come into your perfect lunge position and stand up. We'll do this 8 times on each side. 1, 2, and back and up. 3, and back. And express 4, 5, I need to count, but we practice this with a stick. So if you want to get out a stick, you can always practice this with a stick and a band. Okay, so 8 on that first side, and then other side, count your 8 reps, more or less. We'll be doing this 3 times, so if you didn't quite get the count right, as I did not, we'll get that on the next round. Bottoms up, pull it in close to your shoulder. Really feel that packing of the shoulder. This is such a healthy and helpful position for our pulling and for our shoulder strength and stability. Okay, once you're ready, 8 times up and back. In our bottoms up lunge, this is a locomotive drill, and we're practicing that pathway with some added resistance, some added instability, stabilizing as best you can that bottoms up position. Okay, so you can always support it with your other hand, just lightly. No problem if you do that, especially if you have a heavy kettlebell. I think I got 1 or 2 more. Back and up. I'm going to do an extra because I'm working on that leg. All right, so that's your single leg lunges is what those are, part of our Turkish Get-Up pathway. And now we'll push up 8 to 10 times. If you've been working on this, get a version that you can't really do 8 more of, or that you do 10 of, but you start to make it more challenging as you go week to week. Okay, you want something that you can do at least 5 of. That's what I wanted to say. All right, here we go. 8 to 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I feel like those are getting harder, but again, I did some yesterday too. So that's our first round. We'll take a couple breaths, check in, write some notes. Do you need to make things harder, easier? How are things going? Were the bottoms up harder in the hand than in the leg? You can make some adjustments for the next round, okay? So take a few more breaths. We'll be a little bit more gentle with our nervous system today, so that we'll recover before we go in right away to the next movement, okay? It's actually gonna be more helpful for strength building to take a little bit of rest in between rather than pushing. And of course, if you wanna skip ahead, making it more into a cardio routine, you certainly can go faster. I'm gonna take my breaks today. Inhale through the nose, out through the nose. And when you feel your heart rate return back to a regular, a little bit more rested state, then you can come into your lunge position again. I'm gonna use the same weight, same thing, 8 times. I'm gonna count this time. Bottoms up lunges. Bottoms up front rack position lunges. 1 and down, looking straight ahead. 2, unless you wanna check out your pathway. It's like you're gliding back almost. You could slide your foot to feel that. Feel that pathway. Getting things aligned. And that bottom position sure helps the core, the torso. How many more do we have? Is anyone counting? I think I've got 2 more. Down. Quality over quantity though, okay? And you'll feel it when you get near the end. I'm gonna start at the top on this one. You can start down or up and set things up when you get down once more and stand. The work is on the up phase in this. And we activate the glutes and hamstrings. Okay, so as you come down, yes, things are happening, but less so. The work is on that up phase and the holding of that bottoms up kettlebell. Okay, I've got an 8 kg here, definitely challenging my stability, my shoulder strength, and my grip strength. A couple more. The more aligned you are, the less you'll feel it in the grip though. Okay, 8 on that side. And then take a moment before you do your push-ups. I'm gonna take a couple of deliberate breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. My heart rate went up higher during that set, so now I'm going to return it back before I head into my next set of push-ups, because I'll have a better chance of them being successful if I take a break than if I rush into them. So test that variable out for yourself, that variable of rest, the amount of time. And standard in strength training is about 2 minutes, so we still are under that 2-minute threshold when we go in. Okay, sort of for time's sake, depending on what we're doing a little bit more volume, so we don't need quite as much rest as we would as when we're using a heavy weight. Okay, heavy weight though can be your body weight. Let's do our 8. 1, pushing the amount of your body weight. 3, 4, which is not nothing. 5, 6, 7, and 8. I think we underestimate body weight movement sometimes, and I'm just pushing 150 pounds or more in that position. So certainly I should be considering heavier weights in some of my other movements if I can do those. So if we think about our pulling, then we think about, you know, what can we push? We want to be able to pull a similar amount. So we should all probably be increasing our row weights or our tempo. Last round of lunges, bottoms up lunges. Okay, get yourself organized and we'll squeeze our glutes. We'll find that alignment, check it all out. When you're ready, you'll bottoms up, hold and stand. That's 1 for me. Coming back, looking straight ahead. Upright torso, 2 and back, 3. Notice what they're both working, 4, but notice what your legs are doing. 5, 1's stabilizing, 1 is powering up. 6, last one should be fairly challenging in one way or another. 7 and 8. Bring that down safely and park it to the floor. I'm going to start on the bottom for this final set. Inhale. And bottoms up. Definitely cardio doing these lunges, especially with some heavy weight, with our body weight, and with multiple reps. 3 and down. I'm going to go slow on the way down, changing that tempo. 4, really being mindful of my knee. Getting that glute on, tapping it, getting it on board. 7, 1 more, and 8. All right, we have to push up one more time, don't we? I think we got one more set of push-ups. We'll do those now. I don't know if I'm doing an extra, but I think this is the 3rd round. Take a breath. If we're doing an extra, well, so be it. Feels like it's the 4th round to me. Get yourself set up when you're ready. Your heart rate should be down before you go in. And 8 more, your variation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I picked the right number. I don't know if I could have done 10 today. So, you know, use your whole body weight or your whole body recruiting tension in that movement, and you should start to get challenged by that 8th rep. Otherwise, you need to make it harder for yourself or maybe easier for yourself. That's our first set, and let's get set up for our second superset. All right, our second superset consists of single leg squats and kettlebell swings. And I'm going to talk about the kettlebell swings first, because originally we were using the kettlebell swings as a rotation drill. And we certainly did that on Monday with the live group. So today I'm going to be doing two-handed kettlebell swings with a heavy bell, which is not a rotation drill. So you can choose what you would like to do during the swing portion of this superset. You might want to work on one-arm swings, passing back and forth, getting a little bit of rotation in. If you want to work on some heavier swings with me, you can get out a heavy kettlebell if you have one. So that's why you have a couple of options, because not all of you have a heavy kettlebell, and some of you might want to practice your rotation, alternating kettlebell passes. And then for the single leg squats, I'm going low again, nice and low with a little bit of weight in hand. I'm going to reduce, and I know you won't be able to see my foot during this set. I'm going to use my kickstand foot, and I was using my heel the other day too, because I'm trying to work on 100% of the work being in my standing leg. So you'll see me doing some different stuff here in this low single leg squat. Choose your appropriate height for today. We got lots of time to keep working on these movements, so don't rush to the next step before you're truly ready for it. All right, let's start with the swings, and then we'll go to the squats. And express, you're only going to do 2 rounds. So you'll do a round of swings, round of single legs, and then once more, and then you'll be done. The rest of us will continue on for the full-length version of this workout. All right, so choose your kettlebell swing style, either alternating or two-handed. And I'm only going to do 8 swings. You might do 10 swings or 12 swings, 6 per side. Make a decision before you go in, write it down, adjust it in the second round if you need to. All right, so let's find our hinge, find your hands on the bell, pack the shoulders, ground the feet, and in 3, 2, 1, hike and swing. Park it down when you're ready. If you need to do a few more or you need to test out a different bell, now's your chance, right? So you want to just get it just right for next time so that that 8th one is challenging. And again, it might be 8 per side if you're doing alternating swings. So single leg squats, set up for those. I'm going to use my kettlebell, and I'm going to do my first one with kickstand to pattern this lower squat movement. About 80-20, I'd say 80% in my working leg. It's 3, 4, down, looking straight ahead. 5, pull the kettlebell in. 6, to the microphone. 7, and 8, and then switch legs right away if you want to, or take a break. Definitely take advantage of breaking if you need to. 1, and up. 2, and down. 3, upright torso, sitting back into those glutes. 4, I think. 5, I need a counter. 6, I actually have one, but I gotta need an assistant. 7, and 8. All right. So if you're doing express, this will be your final round of swings. You could do extra. You can make this what you want it to be, safely, mindfully, with the swings, and then you'll do one more set of the squats. Take a breath in through the nose. Check in. Make your decision. And then as you're ready, plant your feet, hinge at the hips, look forwards, tilt the handle, pull back, and in 3, 2, 1, hike and swing. Squeeze the glutes, park it down when you are done. Okay, take a couple breaths through the nose. If you're seeing stars, then you'll know you just need to tweak your variables just a little bit. I find that happens to me when I use a heavier bell, so I just need to make sure to stay on top of it. Okay, then we'll get into our squats. You can take a moment. I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to decide if I can maybe, without the kettlebell, use just one leg. Standing up. Okay, so on the way up I can't, but on the way down I can for the most part. Okay, so I'm going to go up with the kickstand and down with the standing leg. That's 2, kerplunk. A couple more. 3, do your 8. Up. 4 or 5. I'm going to call this one 6 for me. Finding your challenging variation so that we're constantly just incrementally improving bit by bit over the days, weeks, months, and years. Okay, that last one was wobbly. I know that's my last one. And then I'm going to see, okay, can't stand, so I'm going to use my kickstand. 1, and then I'm going to lower with one leg. 1, stand up. Lower, 2, come up, wobble, wobble, 3, get that glute on fire, we're outside. What did I say, 4, 5, I'll feel it, 8 per side, and slower is harder, harder is harder. So if you're ripping through these, it's just a different style of work. Definitely, strength building takes a little bit more time. Time in the movement and a slower pace in general with more rests. All right, have you done your 8 per side? Did you feel good about your swings? Do you want a finisher? You can do that now. And then express, I'll see you for the cool down and stretch. And the rest of us, let's keep going. So we've got one more round of swings, and then we have one more round of single leg squats. Okay, we'll put our time under tension in. Take a breath. Ground yourself, ground your breath. Decide what you're going to do for your final round of swings. We'll be adding even more on at the end, so you'll have more of a chance. So I'm just going to do my 8. I'm happy with that. Heavy bell. Good form, squeezing the glutes. All right, ground into the feet, look up at the horizon, pack the shoulders, and in 3, 2, 1, hike, squeeze. 2. Park when you're done. Shake that out. Maybe you're still going, passing. 8 per side. Check in, take a break, take a breath. And in this B workout, B superset, we've got one more round of single leg squats. Decide what you want to do. I think I'm going to go back to the kettlebell hold ones, and I'm going to see if that helps my situation. Up. When you're ready, you can take another break if you need to. On Monday, we gently started to increase our pace, and we all found that that was a good thing. Lower. 3, definitely collapsing at the bottom there. That's part of the process. 4, a little bit of failure. 5, definitely want to do my 8. 6, stabilizing that leg. 7, and I am feeling this in my glute. All right, I'm gonna go right in to my second side. Down, that's 1. I'm gonna break this chair. Let's see it. 2, and up. Lowering, full weight, going up with 80%. 4, up, arms are getting tired. 5, up, 6, this is harder than the swings. 7, up, 1 more. For me, maybe you're done. Woo, that last one was iffy, but we're done. Superset number 2. Finish up, do what you're doing, write it down, and then I'll meet you for our final superset. Superset C. We're getting it all in this full-length version of this workout. And as I was taking my break, I decided that I want to do a different kind of pulling movement today. So I am not going to do rows. If you are working on rows and they're going well and you're craving them, certainly do your rows today. What I have decided is that I am going to get 2 matching lighter kettlebells and I'm going to zigzag press them like so during the row portion of this workout. So if you have 2 matching or even uneven bells, get those out and we're going to play with them. It's variety day. I'm allowed to change things. And I've done on Monday, the group did lots of rows, pausing rows. So I'm going to change it up so that I'm not working the same exact muscle groups again today. And then we have our single leg deadlifts, and I'm going to use body weight for those. So instead of using 2 kettlebells, I'm going to use my body weight instead, practicing that balance and stability. We'll see. I might add some weight to the situation if I can find some matching kettlebells. All right, so let's start with the rows. If you're working one side and then the other, do 8 on one side and 8 on the other side. I'm going to do 8 on each side with my overhead zigzag presses. Let's get into it. Let's see what happens. Clean the bells if you're with me. Pull them to your shoulders. Get a nice stable stance. And then go up. At the forehead, you'll crisscross. 1, 1, 2, 2, standing tall. 3, no arch in the back. 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, breathing 6, 6, feel the core, 7, 7, pulling down as you come down, 8, and 8. So it's a pulling and a pushing, but we're allowed. It's variety day, and we're getting a variety of movements in this scope of work we're doing. Single leg squats, I'm going hands on the hips, getting my flat back nice and level, lengthening the back leg, 8 per side. You might have 2 kettlebells. I think I'm going to use 2 kettlebells next round, but I'm going to do a round of single legs. These feel nice and easy. So we were talking about this on Monday where we pick our places. If you have a movement that needs extra focus, that really challenges you, you drive your attention to that movement, and then some of the other ones can be a little bit easier. This one's definitely feeling very easy for me because I've been working it with the kettlebells. All right, other side if you're not there already, 8 to 10 per side, hinging at the hips, lengthening, and spreading those toes. You'll feel all the wobbles if you're doing this body weight. It's a good way to pay attention to the standing leg and everything that's required when you're basically balancing your whole body on one leg. Or I think I've got a few more. Definitely more or less with the numbers today, which is also totally fine. We're definitely going by feel sometimes, which is also good. Okay, I'm going back to the zigzag presses, but I'm really going to change it up. I'm going to go on my knees now into the tall kneeling position. So you'll have a slight hinge at the hips, but you'll squeeze the glutes, pack the shoulders, and go up from there. And again, uneven bells are fine, but switch them this time so that you get equal work on both sides. Clean to your shoulders, and then 8 per side. 1, 1. You can catch up. 2, 2, 3. I'll take a break after this. 3, 4. Notice what your torso is doing. 4. Mine's bending. 5, 5. Got to stabilize that with the core. 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, and 8. Come down. I'm going to turn the camera off because I'm going to get some bells for my single leg deadlifts. So finish up with your rows or pulls or presses, and then meet me back for your single leg deadlifts. Okay, I feel happier with my 12 kilogram bells for my single leg deadlifts. I've been doing them with 16. I don't want to do them with 16, so I was really looking for my second 12 kilogram bell for these. Single leg deadlifts, this is just our second round. And then we'll do some more zigzag presses from another style. So if you have a foam chip block or a pillow, you might want to get that before you start what I'm going to show you next for our final variety move of this workout. Okay, but first the single leg deadlifts. So packing the shoulders, lengthen the leg, hinge at the hips, and stand. Oh yeah, that was perfect today. So suss things out, right? That's why we have 3 rounds. We want to get it just right by the third one at least. Sometimes we get it right at the beginning, but it definitely takes some experimentation. That's 4 for me, 4 more. And of course, you working with what you have. 5, 6, takes a while to get those kettlebell collections. 7, so if you're working single-sided, well, that was me for the first like 5 years or something, at least the first 2 years. And then switch sides when you're ready. I feel that. 1, ooh, that was a bad one. Going up slowly, carefully. Soft bend in the knee. 3, breathing. And 4, standing tall at the top. And 5, all that strength. Oh, I like this weight. 6, it's perfect. 7 for today anyways. Jumped out of the gate with that first week using heavy stuff. Now I'm going down, which is part of the process. Okay, so you're always going to ebb and flow, and you want to really mind that. Be staying in touch with where your perceived exertion is. Are you around 7 or 8? That is all we need to be during these workouts. About a 7 on the perceived exertion scale most of the time. Okay, so I am not going to use this, but some of you might want to use it to help lengthen your spine and take the round out of your low back and pelvis. Okay, so you might experiment with that. We're going wide legs. If this is impossible, go to the tall kneeling or the standing version. Don't mess with this if it doesn't feel right in your body. I just was really craving another position. My classic wide leg, not as wide as I can go, but a little bit in, and then hinge at the hips, clean the kettlebells, and press. 1, 1, 2, 2, upright spine. 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, lots of core. 6, 6, 7, 7, whew, 8, and 8. That was perfect. I loved it. Felt a lot of stability happening in my core, my back, but I wasn't overdoing it. It wasn't a strain. 8 was good. I could have pushed to 10, but for this, it's novel. So you don't want to mess around with novel movements until you're familiar with them and adapted to them. So novel just means something that you haven't done in a while, something that's different. Last round with single leg deadlifts. I'm going right in. I might just do 5 per side. Let's see. Hinge at the hips, pack the shoulders, come to standing. Try for your 8 though. 2, definitely taking out some of the rests here, amping things up a bit. So if you're taking breaks, it's actually a good thing. Don't feel 6, 7 that you're bad if you're taking a break. It's actually better to take breaks. I should be showing that more often. I'm just being mindful of the time. So I think I did 6 or 7, and then I'm going to go to the other side. This is our last workout move of the day, last fundamental movement of the day. We're going to finish with a few swings, but nothing too crazy, okay? So a few more of these, about 7 for me. All that work as you come up, stabilize as you go down. All that work on the way up, stabilize as you go down. I'll do one more. And then safely put your kettlebells away. Keep one out for your swings. And I'm going to get a heavier bell for my final round of swings. We're only going to do about 24, 8 plus 8 plus 8, similar to what we just did. I just found that what I had was a little bit too light, so I'm going to get a heavier bell. We're going to have a little finisher of swings, and then we'll cool down and stretch. All right, 24 swings one way or another. So if you're doing alternating kettlebell passes, do 4 per side, which is 8 in total, and then another set of 8 and another set of 8. If you're with me, you're doing two-handed heavy kettlebell swings, sets of 8. And you might change the weight you're using throughout. We'll do a set of 8 and then check in. All right, so this is our finisher for today. Get nice and grounded. Ground into your feet. Look up at the horizon. Hinge at the hips. And in 3, 2, 1, hike, swing. All right, that felt good for me. I'm happy about that. Just want a little bit more room. Hopefully you can see me, so I'll put it there. And we've got 2 more sets, okay? I was cramping my glutes. I love heavy work because it really forces you to turn everything on. Cramp the glutes, brace the abs, everything in that moment. And so we're nice and sturdy at the top of the plank. Maybe I'll turn to the side so you can see that, and then I have more room for my swings. All right, second set, 8 swings. Ground into the feet, hinge at the hips, hands on bell. 3, 2, 1, hike, swing. Yes, that felt really good to me. So it's like a deadlift, but we're swinging. So if we're deadlifting, we're going to deadlift more weight. This multiplies because it's swinging. So I've got a 24 kg, which is about 52 pounds. So I'm not great at physics, but it's more than 52 pounds when I'm swinging it. So it feels really stabilizing, grounding. Get a little cardiovascular hit, and it's definitely great for our glycolytic system and our aerobic system, and definitely our structure and foundational strength. All right, final round of swings. Here we go. Hands on bell. 3, 2, 1, hike. And that is our 24 swings, one way or another, plus all of what we did before. So around 50, but in this case, the numbers don't really matter. It's more about everything else than the numbers in a kettlebell swing. But we're done. Let's clean up, and I'll see you for our cool down and stretch. All right, cool down and stretch. Take a breath, shake it out. Shake out your arms, your wrists, your legs, and just get into your breathing. I have a feeling I'm gonna make a few versions of this workout. One with the bonus that we just did, a bonus finisher, and then of course the express and the full length. But I think the full length is gonna be long today. Definitely a satisfying workout for me. Let's spread our fingers and stretch out and find your feet. Walk your feet back just a little. Hips are the furthest point. Looking between your arms down towards the floor. Breathing here, staying in stillness, or making some adjustments. Stay for longer if that's feeling good. We'll come to a standing position, catching the top of our foot and pressing the thigh away, tucking the pelvis under rather than letting it tilt. We'll use our strength to get into this stretch. Quads, hip flexors, and those deep psoas muscles. Finding the alignment in your ankle, knees and standing leg. Staying for longer is always better. Definitely better, because it gives you an opportunity in your body, an opportunity to actually learn what it needs to do. Educating it here. And slowly release that without slingshotting your foot back, and then find the other leg, other foot, pack the shoulder, tuck the pelvis, breathe. Really feeling that stretch by pressing into the hand with the foot. And the more strength you use, this is not a passive stretch, so you use your strength to get into that. Express, we'll just plant the feet, interlace the fingers, and reach up overhead. You can back bend, we'll lengthen, inhaling, open the jaw. Any movements that you'd like to make to close your movement practice for today. Hopefully you'll do a little bit more movement throughout the day, but until next time, keep strong, kettlebell on. All right, the rest of us, let's keep going. I definitely need more than that. So using a chair or blocks, let's get into our hamstrings on that tightrope, knee touching the heel of the front foot, and you're lined up on a straight line. Blocks are there for a little bit of height and support, even if you can go lower, which I, for instance, can, but I find it more beneficial, more educational to come to a little bit easier version of these postures. And that's definitely recommended. We don't want to go into the deepest version of every stretch most of the time. This is a functional range. Flat back, gazing ahead of the fingers, and feeling where your hips are in space. Feeling your breath, feeling your shoulders. And outside edge of that front leg. You might feel it in your back leg too, but probably your front leg, depending on what's the tightest. Take another breath. And then switch sides. Heel and knee to your heel, and then straighten up. Soft bend in the knees. You don't need to lock them out. I like locking out my elbows, but not the knees, okay? So I find that we tend to lock out our elbows unnecessarily, or bend our elbows unnecessarily. So you can lock out your elbows, but in the case of the knees, what we're actually looking for is a long spine. So we're not looking to overstretch our hamstrings and get a yoga butt. Yoga butt is not a good thing. We overstretch our hamstrings, and it's not a helpful situation. So just ease off a little bit and back off of these stretches. We don't need to do more than what is functional. And this is where the yoga world gets a bad rap, but minding your own body too and what you're learning about your own body. Okay, once you feel even, come down, choose your variation of your hip stretch. I'm really into the fire log. The wall one is more appropriate for most, so foot on the wall, ankle over the knee and coming back. I just like to stay upright, and I've done that one already today, so I'm gonna come into fire log. But if you go into this position and it's like you're having to pull and stretch and wiggle, it's not the best move for you, best stretch for you. So keep it loose and use the wall if you have one. I'm sure you have a wall. Let's hope you have some kind of wall or a door. Take about 13 to 15 breaths. Long spine, either variation. Listening to the sound of your breath. Finding a sense of ease in this posture. And gently, gently allowing that release in your hips. And switch sides as you're ready. If you don't feel a release, that's okay, but just gently softening into the posture with every breath without forcing it. Nervous system and the body responds to gentle, gentle movement in the case of stretching. And it's the regular maintenance that we're looking for. We don't want to do it all in one day. So bit by bit, you might start to notice one hip getting a little lower, a little softer in a good way. And that's what we're looking for, micro changes. And finding ease in your breath. And I will come onto the floor for our Badakanasana, bound angle posture. So something symmetrical, and it can be this one here. I'm gonna do this one and I might follow it with a happy baby. So we'll take, again, about 10 breaths, checking out your hips day to day and then following certain workouts. Sometimes we make things worse, sometimes we make things better. So learning about that is so important. Learning about what your tendencies are and what your postural needs are. We all have a posture condition, 1, 2, or 3. And it's good to learn which one you are, because then you can learn how to help yourself with your daily stretching, which is, I don't know if stretching is the right word, daily exercise, daily movement, daily postures. And maybe call this a posture, not a stretch. Though on one hip it does feel like a stretch. Gentle. A few more breaths, just feeling maybe your belly, maybe your heart, your lungs. Full diaphragmatic breathing. And please stay for longer. Again, craving a longer stretch today. I think this is going to be a long video today, but that is welcome sometimes. A slower pace and just really listening in. So any other movements you'd like to make, maybe a knee hug, maybe a curl in, chin to the legs and knees, sealing your practice, as they say in yoga, a little bit of a core movement. And you can rock yourself up to seated if you like. And that is our week 6 variety day. Thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, keep strong, kettlebell on.